I would like to make a motion to call to order the Halifax Board of Health meeting on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, at 6:31 p.m.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to, the Board of Health, in accordance with the provisions of MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20B, the meeting is being recorded by Area 58 Community Access Channel and can be viewed on YouTube. I anticipate the following matters to be discussed or voted on this meeting, and we may be taking some items out of order for time management, so we will actually start, when we start the meeting up, with the Maryland's Landing topic. But I do want to actually start this meeting off with a moment of silence in memory of our health agent, Bob Valerie, who passed away unexpectedly on October 10th. The board is thankful for his support and years of service to the town, and he'll be greatly missed. Thank you. Okay, should we, if that's still,
Yeah,
says
so,
you're 100% there, or?
so members present at the meeting,
Pam Engstrom,
Candace Green,
David Hatch.
and we have our interim health agent.
Robert Bucher, good evening.
So we can move that till after too. We might as well start with Maryland's Landing.
yeah, okay. So we'll start with the Maryland's Landing presentation. I missed the last meeting, so I know it had already been started, so wherever you need to pick up, and we can go from there.
That's a tough one to follow, but good evening, everybody. I'm Marilyn McDonald with McDonald Industries. From our last meeting, I came in just with a soft intro. I've worked with Bob myself for over 5 years, so we really just wanted to put faces together because it was a new board than what we worked at previously with the last couple of approvals. So with that, we're here tonight to, let you hear. What I'd like to do is let you hear from the people that in their areas of expertise, ask questions, and then I definitely want respectful, meaningful dialogue and any questions people have on what we do and stuff. So, with that being said, I know you guys have a very busy agenda. We'll roll right into the presentation for you, and this will complete our presentation after tonight. So, again, I'm deeply, deeply sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to start by just introducing, with me tonight is I have Rick Stromberg, he's our LSP, which is a licensed site professional. I also have Jared Everton, and with environmental, as I mentioned last time, W.O. French joined us to help us facilitate this, so we're not on top of the rockets. I have Donald Nagel, who is our environmental attorney, who's been with us from the start, formerly worked with DEP and knows our rules and regs backwards and forwards. And those will be the people that will all have them, address their fortes, and then please, again, open up your questions to them, and afterwards, I gladly open up respectful dialogue so that you can get yours. I know I did send some stuff to Bob, but I'm clear with, and I'll go through the chair and everything, is whether you guys were able to get that, like the follow-up letter from the first meeting of the meeting.
I'm pretty sure I saw that. Did you get a copy? Did you guys get a copy?
I think so. There's so much has been going on,
Yeah.
my email's been flooded, but I think he did send it out after the last meeting, but we can double check.
Yeah, we'll double check.
And some other things like that, so yeah, I know it's been whirlwind, so
Yeah.
we'll make sure they have the right.
Okay.
And just for transparency too, we're not going to be voting on any of this tonight. This is ongoing discussions. We are in a bit of a transition, obviously, as far as our health agent goes, but we do want to continue. We have some questions and we'd like to hear more from you. So, but just so everyone knows, we're not voting on this tonight.
Right.
Yeah, let's get you what you need.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. Don, if you'd like to start the intro?
Sure. Yeah, good evening, members of the board, chairman and members. My name is Donald Nagel. I'm an environmental attorney. I was hired by Maryland for this project back in 2013. And so I've helped Maryland get regulatory approvals for the soil project since then, which have been multiple approvals along the way. And we're here tonight because we are seeking yet another approval. And this one is it's called a corrective action. And we'll tell you all about it in detail tonight. So I just first want to say that, well, actually, based on the last presentation about a month ago, a lot of questions came up, and at the request of the board, we addressed those questions in writing, and it's a 4 or 5 page letter that is with the Board of Health, and it's publicly available. It's a public document, so anybody can ask the board for a copy of it. We meant to bring copies of it tonight, but we forgot, but they're available. So a lot of those questions have been asked and answered, but obviously, we're here to give a presentation on really more of the technical details of the project, and also to answer any questions any of the public might have. All phases of this project, it's a soil project on the footprint of the closed Halifax landfill. We're not reopening the landfill. We are correcting and fixing problems that have arisen with regard to the closed landfill over time. It was closed back in 1995. Over the years, the landfill slopes have collapsed. In particular, the stormwater management system that was built into the side slopes have collapsed. Stormwater has, instead of going where it's supposed to go, it's just streaming right down the side of the landfill, pulling vegetative cover off the top of the landfill, exposing the cap, and washing sediment into nearby properties, including wetland areas. So last spring, I believe it was, Mark Akers from DEP came down and did an inspection of the landfill, and he said pretty much, quote unquote, if there ever was a need for corrective action at a landfill, this is it. And so Maryland's Landing has been operating a soil facility at the landfill and adjacent to the landfill since 2013. They're in a perfect position to do the corrective action at the closed BFI landfill. And so at the last meeting, we did a brief introduction. Tonight we'll have some plans that we can show you. So the plans that we're showing you tonight, we have shown to DEP, Mark Akers and engineers for DEP, and they liked the design of it. They indicated that it's consistent with their requirements, but we have yet to go through a formal approval process. And DEP said, before you do that, do some outreach with the town, make sure that the town knows about the project, has the opportunity to learn about it and ask questions about it. So that's why we're here tonight. What we're going to do now is Jared Everton is going to come up and walk through the plans, and then Rick is going to do a presentation as well. Rick, do you have anything you were going to add to that?
I'm just going to talk about some generalities about bringing the soil in, safeguards that are involved with it, and other things.
Yeah, just to highlight it.
Try the arrows on the
Actually,
screen.
start out on a different slide.
The project is heavily regulated by DEP. All the approvals go through DEP.
I can't see anything, and I'm actually in a butter, so I'd love
Okay, yeah, please.
You want to grab a chair?
So go ahead.
You can take one over there.
Yeah, you can sit right there on the
Yeah,
edge
sit
if
in one
you
of
want.
those.
That's fine.
All right, cool.
No chairs, a chair member.
Chair of honor.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. I'm Jared Everton, W.L. French. I'm the Director of Environmental Services over there. We're operating the landfill right now. doing a lot of the filling, pushing the soils, that sort of stuff. We're involved in the design of the corrective action that Dawn just spoke about. So this kind of gives us a general overview of,
Chad,
I think we need to read.
turn that around.
Yeah, we need to readjust
I
this.
don't know if the camera's gonna be able to get it.
There's a camera over there.
Do you want me to turn it that way?
I think that the, town members came to see it. I'd love to be able to try and figure out a way where everyone can see.
Yeah.
Let's have you.
You guys see that?
I think if you pull it towards you a little, you can swing it.
Yeah, pull towards you a little bit.
And then Dave, you can come cozy up down here. Come on down, bud. Come on down.
It's gonna be perfect for everybody.
Jared, pull it your way.
Okay. They're gonna be able to see it though now.
Okay.
I think it's, we can see it. We can see it.
There we go. So this is a general overview of the landfill that we're seeing right here. The red dashed line is what was previously permitted out there for phase 1 and 2 of the project. It's currently ongoing. The blue dashed line is phase 4 that we're talking about. Phase 4 that we're talking about tonight. As you can see, we've previously done a lot of filling over on the Bridgewater side. Now we're moving over to the Halifax side. We've gotten some questions on why do we need to bring the toe of the slope out so far. And as Dawn mentioned, there's been some ongoing stormwater issues out there. So we're going to be increasing the downshoots on for stormwater management out there. Currently, it's going down this side of the landfill out towards the cranberry bog. Towards the cranberry bogs that are out there, across the power lines, creating some wetlands that were not previously there. So our goal is to redirect the stormwater towards the stormwater basins. Maybe on this side, maybe that'll be better. Towards the stormwater basins that are already out there. And I guess the question is, why do we need to go up in height instead of just increasing the toe of the slope out? And DEP has regulations that the side slopes of the landfills need to be a 3-to-1 slope. So when we're going out, we also need to go up vertically. Now we proposed a peak elevation of 170 out there, but when we're talking 170, it's really 158, because 158 is going to be the rim. So the toe is right here, and we're talking about where the plateau really starts. This corner of it is 158. We're currently at 144 permitted, so we're talking about another 14 feet in elevation, which is pretty insignificant when you're seeing it from a distance. And that is what the rendering that we have shows here. So the current 158 here, and then the peak will be at 170. But once you get up to the plateau, which is this, we need a 5% grade on the top of this, which is the flat spot basically, but it's 5%. That's basically 1 foot elevation for every 20 feet out that we're going. And that just controls the stormwater, keeps it flowing in the correct direction out there. The rendering that we have shows some trees along the peak facing Pine Street. And that's kind of be there to hide the peak, as well as future solar work that we're going to do out there, hopefully. So again, this is basically what it's going to look like at the end of this project.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What's the current height?
So 144 is the current height of
Okay.
this. So
And that's, you're saying what it's gonna look like after and not now?
This-
Because I feel it kind of looks like what it looks like now from
it
Pine
is.
Street.
It's exactly, this is an actual image from Pine Street that's been kind of digitized. So 158 is, you're 14 feet, but from the distance, you're really not going to be able to tell. And when we're talking that peak again at 170, it's behind.
That's in the middle of the plateau.
That's in the very, very middle of it.
So it's still 30 feet.
But you won't see that because it's behind the trees there, and it's not a peak. When you're thinking of, the peak.
No, I'm just thinking of Phil. I'm not thinking it.
So I'm sorry, sir,
thinking the
sir,
original.
I'm sorry, sir, time out, please. Sir, you can ask questions at the end, but you have to, there's a process, you have to identify yourself and ask the question, so we'll have him go through and then we're gonna let everyone ask their questions.
So again, this will allow us to control the stormwater on the site, bring the toe of it out more, have swales going down the side slopes of the landfill that aren't currently there, that collapsed, they're not functioning right now. So once we bring it up, it'll be functioning stormwater system out there, and that's really the main goal of this project, is to control the stormwater, keep it from going across into the power lines. So that's the general goal.
Can you speak a little bit about what soil we use at there too before?
Well, I think Rick's. Yeah.
Does the board have any questions for,
I'll wait till the end too.
Yeah, wait till the end.
We'll wait
So we'll do questions at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thanks. I just think it's important for me to take probably 5 minutes, if we could, maybe 10 at most, just to talk to people here that live near the landfill, of course, the team members that I'm involved with every day in managing the soil. My name is Rick Stromberg. I'm a licensed site professional, or LSP. You probably heard that acronym a lot. I've been doing this for 42 years. I've been an LSP for 32 years. Ever since the program began, I've been an LSP in good standing. I know a lot of LSPs in the region through the state, because what I do for Maryland's, and I've done this at 15 other sites, 15 other soil reuse sites through my career, is we get packages from other LSPs that work on other sites, and they're interested in taking some of the soil from those sites and reusing it at an appropriate facility that's appropriately permitted, like Maryland's, to take it. So what we put together, and we've done this probably like 8 or 9 times through the 15 years that I've worked with Maryland's every day, is we put together these soil reuse management plans. It's like a book. And it talks about the procedures, it talks about the objectives, it talks about approvals, it talks about the criteria, most importantly, the soil acceptance criteria that you might have heard of. What kind of concentrations of constituents in the soil that you might find can we take? Some of it's natural, like metals are naturally occurring, some of it's not. Some of it's from solvents or petroleum based, and some of them are in between. This is like burnt hamburgers. When you burn up hamburgers and meat, you get these, they're called SVOCs, and they occur by burning meat, and we all eat it. It's just found in dirt too, from coal and coal ash and everything. So I guess as a matter of side, it's just, I do environmental toxicology. I've done it for 40 years. And, you know, the materials that we eat, drink, breathe, you name it, it's got stuff in it. It's all about dose and light. It's all things in every media that we're involved with. So it's just important to bring out. So what happens when an LSP wants to bring soil to Maryland's? They have a site, it may be a commercial residential site, it might be an office tower, it might be a parking lot, it might be a residence. They have soil, they have a property, and they've got a due diligence program that they have to operate under. The owner says, I need to have this soil studied, and is there something going on there that's hot, that needs to be appropriately characterized, and get your arms around it, and figure out what's going on underground, so that you could have maybe some dirty areas that have something that's spilled there through the years. And you go through all the historical records, and then the areas that maybe aren't dirty, or maybe there's just natural soil that's sitting around these areas. And it's their job as LSPs on their sites, and I've been one and I've done hundreds of them myself. It's your job as an LSP with a license that's granted by the state to look at that area, test, define, figure out what is the dirty stuff we call contaminated soil that has to go to some other facility. And what we're involved with here at Maryland's is we take soil that I like to call mildly affected. Maybe it has some low levels of metals or other things in it that are compliant with what's called RCS2 standards. It's a bar that DEP has set for all of us that says, well, this is protective for the use of that site, for that landfill. It's a commercial facility, soil reuse site. We don't take trap, we take soil. It's protective of that site. And you can take anything below that, and you can also take below RCS1. You might have heard that. That's another little bar below RCS2, which is a residential-based standard. We take up to RCS2. We take in a lot of RCS1 soil as well. So we look at soils that are kind of peripheral. that are mostly clean, that have been well-defined. They put the package to us. I look at them, I give comments back to them, I send them to Maryland every day. I get packages from these people. They know me, I know them. I tell them, this is what you're missing, this is what you've got to do, we don't agree with this is what you need to do. They send a package back to us. Actually, it goes through French. Now in our partnership with French, you go, all these packages go to French, and then they come to me. After you guys have looked at it, so you're the first gate. It gets looked at by French, then it comes to me, and I look at it, and I do my thing, and I get it back to the French, and I approve it. We settle on what is appropriate
Public.
to bring in.
You send it to Jeff.
I'm getting it.
Okay.
And then, once I do that, Republic Services has another LSP that they're involved with through the partnership that looks at my package and my comments and makes sure he agrees with my comments. So I've got the sending side LSP, I've got French that looks at the package.
We have an LSP as well.
LSP, look at the package. Comes to me, I do my thing, I've been doing it for 15, 30 years. And then we get it to Republic and they do their thing. Sometimes we refuse packages, we still take them. So, the goal is to take soil that's clean enough to meet the requirements that DEP has set for us for this site. That's what we live by. And one thing I want to mention too, there's a term remediation waste out there that scares the crap out of people. And I just want to clear up that name because DEP came up with that name and it's not fair because it's not right. So what that means is it's the same thing as RCS2 soil. Remediation waste is another name for RCS2 soil, but all it is that it came from a site where there was something went on. Okay, they delineated it and they got rid of it. But if it's a residential site or an RCS1 site, and you're going to move the clean stuff to an RCS2 site, all of a sudden it's going to become remediation waste. Even though to me it's not, because the dirty stuff goes away. The cleanest stuff, if it's from an RCS1 site, that's the kicker. Going to us, which is an RCS2 site, it has to be called remediation waste. So I hope that clears up that a little bit. And there's a lot of things to kind of run by you guys tonight. And I'm here to answer questions. One other thing I wanted to talk about is the dust. I know that people have had concerns about dust. And as you know, a facility like Maryland's, during dry times of year, especially back in 2023, it was a very dry winter. We had an episode where there was a lot of very high winds, dust was everywhere, we all saw it. Board of Health came down, Bob, Valerie, and others. And we looked at it, and we made a decision that, okay, it's a windy situation. Maryland was already employing best management practices, but we felt it was best to beef up these best practices and study this. What does this mean? You see these puffs of wind and puffs of dust kind of flying off the landfill. And they do happen on the roads, they happen everywhere in the Commonwealth. Dust blows, the bikers on the trails, dust blows around everywhere, it just does. So we set up 2 quantitative continuous measuring devices that basically suck in the air on a continuous mode at 2 locations. And what the intent was to take the 2 locations, one on the landfill and one on the downwind side of the landfill toward the Laurel Circuit Street areas at the prevailing wind direction, which was west-southwest. So the wind varies a little bit, it kind of does this, does that, but predominantly the wind in our area is west-southwest. So we set up these 2 stations, monitored for 3 months continuously, with bells and whistles. If anything popped, we had a standard that we had to live for. And we measured conservatively total dust that went in there. We didn't separate it out to 2.5 microns or 10 microns. We measured total dust as a conservative measure to compare against DEP's standard and EPA's standard, a bar that's protected. And by the way, this is dust, it's a nuisance dust, it's not toxic, the dirt's not toxic, it's dust. So we got this data after three weeks, and we did notice, and I got the graphs I brought with it, kind of small, but we know it's little blips, that we had this bar, this level, that is protective of residential homes. And we got these little spikes now. But the standard is based on a 15-minute duration, sustained duration of wind at that level. So yes, we did get spikes, but the 15-minute average, sustained average, was below the bar, okay? So we do acknowledge that there's puffs, and you're gonna get puffs out there now and then. And Meryl's doing her damn best to control it. She really does, Maryland's team does a fantastic job. And I will say unequivocally, of the sites that I've been involved in, this is the best run site that I've ever been on. And I just want to say that in front of everybody. And kudos to Maryland, I really mean it. So, this is what we did for 3 months. We sent the data to the DEP, they looked at it, and we figured, well, it is what it is. It's not a continuous high-level problem. You're going to get puffs of dust. She's doing her best to manage that, so I don't know if you want to add on to that, but those are the three things that I thought maybe people
The
want to
gorilla
know.
snot that we've added since that incident in 2023. It's an awful name. I didn't name it, but it's a good product that works, approved in Mass DEP, and we apply that, especially going into the months now where you can't always use a water truck because we can't put that on the roads. But we are even looking into warming that well. We don't take any resources from the towns. We don't use town water. You might want to talk a little bit about the water. So everything we use is self-contained and sufficient. So there's nothing that we take. So if you want to maybe talk
Yeah, the
about
groundwater too is important to talk about. I'm actually going to be out there sampling tomorrow and Friday with another guy. We sample 4 wells on the Republic side and 4 wells on the Maryland side and 2 surface water points in the bog areas twice a year. And we follow the protocols for sampling water. You see us out there, we've got a pile of equipment like this big, pumps and bottles and you name it, we have to go all around. And the data that we've gotten over the past 10 years or so, it's gotten better and better and better. That really, right now, is compliant with drinking water standards. It really is, even though drinking water doesn't apply. It's that clean. It amazes me, the quality of the water. And that's on record. People can look on the record and look the data up and call them if they want. But I think the water's fine so far. So that's kind of what I had to share.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we'll open it back up to the board, and if you have any questions for anybody. I know on the first one, as I mentioned, the Bridgewater parcel is how we got involved. We were left with land that we couldn't use, and, working with Republic, they came to the table and worked with us. And again, not throwing them under the bus, but they did come and work with us. And what we found using this RCS toilet, oh my God, is that it works as a good filter, RCS1, RCS2. Now, your boards previous did do other approvals with us. We were looking at other things to bring in revenue at that time. We are not looking to do that with these type of soils. They work. They're like a filter, and we've gotten clean, and we are now able to use our side of the land, and we're figuring, well, if it's not broken, why fix it? So we don't want to go up with any different types of soils on this corrective action. We just want to do the corrective action with the soils we've been using that have proved to clean and be safe for health and human environment, and have worked. And, again, the data's out there that you can see and look at. So, it's a family-run business. We're down there 7 days a week to make sure that nothing's up. And, we're just trying to do good with our community too, is what we can do with it. That maybe bring something in or post-closure uses, but I mean, the reality is the landfill wasn't closed right. Now we're seeing the repercussions, and they're not good. Can't, I could walk away and say Bridgewater's all set, but is that there with us, the landfill? No. So, I'm happy for the board first to please, it's a lot. I know when I first, got into this as a nurse, I was like, whoa. So it is a lot to digest. So my team is here, the experts are here, and please feel free to answer, ask any questions. And then again, I definitely want to open respectful dialogue with the public, because there's a lot of misconceptions and people have to understand what we really do. RCS2 sites can be anywhere, not just a landfill. You can have an RCS2 site as long as you're 500 feet away from a residential area. I don't know if Jared or Rick want to weigh in on that.
Yeah, RCS2 means that you're not located within 500 feet of a residence, park, aquifer, school, daycare, things like that. That's RCS1 applies to residential, school, daycare, anything sensitive. RCS2 is everything else.
Right. And when you look at it, the front, you have a custom bike shop out there, which we really don't want any dust out there. Our land is all to the west along with Halifax. There's 50 acres of Halifax out back. The power lines are by National Grid, and that's where they can't be draining on further. Then it stops there, and then it picks up with Republic again, where you see a lot of kids doing their bike trails and stuff like that. Also an area where people throw a lot of trash, so we do try to get over there and get some mattresses. But I mean, that's the area. And then I'm not sure who owns the bogs. I know that Bob O'Larry has checked in with that person in the past, but that's the way the lane goes. So there's really no residential of direct abutter within 500 feet of us. I think the furthest might be about 2,000, I have to measure it, but we are truly the abutters, National Grid, and then McDonald Industries on the other side, BFI going straight back. Again, after the power lines, Republic catches it up, and then I would believe the bog owner would probably pick up right at the edge of their things. We have the commercial land out front that we always check into, make sure that they're okay, any dust problems. I mentioned my grandson goes across the street, I've checked in with them, any dust problems, but I can honestly say, you know, I've driven by places, we manage that dust to the T, because I'm a nervous Nelly, so, and Gorilla Snot, as much as I hate the name of it, does work and does help us. And we do extra vegetation too, because one mother we know is Mother Nature, and sometimes she's hard to control. So we now leave some stockpiles that have grown in, and that helps us with any dust with the trucks coming in and stuff. So we're always very transparent, didn't have our door open. You're welcome anytime down, and we, you know, take advice. And, you know, like I said, I've learned over the years, it's not my first rodeo now. It was back in 2013, but it's not my first rodeo this time. But I can tell you one thing, I feel very comfortable down there. I've lived down there. We had one night, I think, 4th of July, but, you know, my family's on site every day. My friends are on site. It's a closed work net, and we're there checking it 7 days a week. And I bring my grandchildren over there to ride around. So if there was anything I thought I was doing wrong, absolutely not. I'm here to improve our community, our environment, because it was not, and I'll tell you this honestly, in good shape when I started this. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we're going to have the board have questions, and then we'll open it to the public. Could you gentlemen do me a favor? Could you move your chairs this way, just so that way the camera can see the board, and then we can move the microphone for committee members after. May I go first? Yes. Thank you. So I was at the last meeting. I know, Pam, you watched the recording. And it seems like the last meeting, this was being sort of presented as we're sealing it, we're closing it, we're done. Tonight, we didn't talk about any of that. Now it's a corrective action. So I'm trying to figure out which is it? Because we didn't talk about sealing it at all today. Last time the focus was we're going to seal it, we're done. Tonight was more of it's a corrective action that we need to do.
So maybe that was on me. I mean, I get nervous when I present. I'm not really a presenter, but it's, if you remember, Bob did open it up by saying it is a corrective action. My term about sealing it means you're gonna seal it so it doesn't come back and haunt you, because right now it is haunting us by, you know, with the seepage of the drainage and leaching and stuff like that. So it is a corrective action, but because the liner has lifted in certain areas, you do have to go to the toe, is what we call it, and then you work your way up and seal it from there. So if I misled you on that,
No,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'm just trying to get, figure this out. Definitely not my area of expertise.
Let me just touch on that too. There is sections of cap on the side slopes that are exposed, so now you have the actual poly, basically the plastic is exposed to the sun. The cover materials have washed off.
Okay. Because
the stormwater is not controlled. So we're going to put material on top of that, basically cover it up, like she's saying, seal it, control the stormwater to prevent it from re-eroding down the side slope.
So the plan is still to seal it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not, if I just add to that, we're not reopening the landfill. We're just protecting the existing cap from further damage.
Okay. So
And
that
stabilizing.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. So I'm less concerned about the quality of the soil. It sounds like that is very well regulated and you do a great job. My concern is more with the size. So you talk about the slopes collapsing and, seeping. If you move it to the very edge of the property line, now you have no buffer. What keeps this from happening again in the future?
Yep. Okay. As I say, the design that we have, it now has a berm. Well, there's several downshoots that are going to control the stormwater to keep it from eroding like it has in the past. But down at the bottom, the toe of the slope, there's now a berm. So any water that makes it down to the toe of the slope, it'll hit a berm and it'll get redirected to the stormwater basins instead of going out to the power lines and the wetlands.
Because, that was sort of my concern last time and remains my concern, is that when you move anything on your property right to the property line, you now have no buffer from any of the abutters.
Could I address that? And Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the proposed design that we ran by DEP, we're not expanding the footprint at all. of the landfill. We're
What's that
just
drawing then?
reestablishing a 3-to-1 slope to the landfill.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's the footprint of the landfill.
So it already goes to that blue
Yes.
It
line?
already does,
Yes,
yeah.
it already goes there, Ken.
We're adjusting the grades that are on there now, so there'll be a berm now at the toe where there wasn't previously. The toe is basically the bottom of the slope, just in case you're not familiar with that.
Could we
That's-
just,
So,
Sure.
maybe what to help too is I know when I did, I said I worked a lot with Bob and Cody. One thing they wanted to see on that eastern slope was a retaining wall. So I said, Bob was able to, with his schedule, come out and see a retaining wall, whether it's soil or what, so it doesn't go past that area. Now, with our side, Bridgewater, we had the luxury, and he saw the other day that we had 8 acres to make that western slope. You guys can't go past that, you can't go past where you are. So you have to make sure that 3-to-1 is where you're working in that area. Again, we had the luxury of having that 8 acres, which is why you're seeing the Bridgewater side not go up higher. We were able to make that 3-to-1 slope with the room that we had on
Okay.
that side, if that helps you.
Okay. And I guess the last question that I've sort of been struggling with, and I don't speak for the whole board, just for myself, it sounds like this is something that should definitely be done. My question is, does it have to be done on this big a scale? All respect, this is a business for you, right? You get money for the soil you bring in, so it's a business for you, but our job is to ask, is it best for the town? Is it safe for the people around it? So I guess my question is, can it be sealed and fixed on a smaller level without making it this big?
So you want to take that,
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about it earlier, but when we're bringing out the toe of the slope, we also need to increase the side slope of it too. It needs to be at a 3-to-1
Right.
slope on it.
So this is the only way that this problem can be
That's the
fixed?
calculations, yeah, that the import works out to.
There's no smaller way, no way to bring in less fill to cap it?
Nope.
for the 3-to-1. And I apologize, last time I actually, because, working with CEC right now, we don't go into any major plans until we have the concrete, basis with DEP and have talked to the towns. And, as you know, Bridgewater too, with these 2 towns have jointly worked together with everything. I did have the wrong rendering plans because we threw so many back and forth, but it came in at 158, and that was right where Bob and Cody and I really wanted to hopefully see it fall, was between that 155 and 160, because the 3-to-1 is completely gone. There's not even a 1-to-1 out there. So the answer is yes, that's what you need. No, we're not going to go out and extend the landfill, and once we do this, it will settle, but that's okay. It's gonna settle the right way. It's not gonna be 2 feet on a cap and nobody has to go back out there again. That's why I use the phrase, seal it like a tomb so it doesn't come back and haunt again.
Okay.
Yep. and-
So there's no concern that increasing the slope and filling it over time is gonna do the same thing, settle out
So
and get wider? I mean, gravity would say if you put a bunch of dirt on top, it's gonna settle out and get
that's
wider.
actually what this volume and what we've been bringing in so far will do. It's called surging it. So we're putting basically a surge pile on top of it. It's compressing it right now, and it has been probably over the last few years. But it's compressing it enough, it won't do that in the future. It should have mild settlement, but not what we've seen in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, the proposed design is to stabilize what is now unstable as a result of the closure that happened in 1995. And that was collapsing slopes at the top of the landfill because there was solid waste that deteriorated. And so the shape, it's misshapen. And as a result of the misshapen landfill, the sediment's being washed off, the stormwater is not controlled, the top of the landfill is creating big, divots, which, where water collects and threatens the integrity of the cap. So we ran this design by DEP and said, we think this is gonna stabilize an old closed landfill. And they agreed that it was an appropriate design.
Yeah, I don't question that. I'm curious if it can be done in a, I guess, a smaller scale, but it sounds like not.
No.
All right, those were the questions I had.
And I just want to ask, so the berm that you talk about at the bottom of the toe, whatever, so what is that? Is that soil, or what's
It's
that
gonna be,
mean?
yeah, an RCS1 soil berm, so it's the cleaner soil at the very base of it.
Yeah.
That will be built up and collect it and redirect the stormwater towards the basin. So it won't be discharging across the power lines, it will be going
Yep.
into a basin as designed.
So that's, you said it's RCS 1 soil.
Correct.
And final cover too.
Yeah, final cover too as well, like I said.
And then, once again, what stops that from eroding or?
There'll be, it's gonna be.
No cap.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be reinforced with stone. It's a stone swale. It'll be grass on the sides of it to keep
Okay.
it from eroding. So
Okay,
it's not just soil.
okay.
So unfortunately, I think I left my clipboard on the back of the truck. I'm known to do things like that. But I did have a picture with me of what we did on the western side where there's a cap on Halifax. There's no cap on Bridgewater, just on the area we made them fix a few years back in 2012. So our western slope is completely all soil, like loam, gravel, it's got clay in there, and it grew beautiful. So with no cap, it can't grow on top of the cap. You only have a couple of feet. So that's what it will get more enhanced going. And again, we left that up to you guys too, once the storm water was in. If you wanted to see Republic still mowing it, or did you want to see it more come in naturally with the trees that would be put up top? I left our side natural growth, and Bob, you saw it the other day, that 3-to-1 slope, all natural. That's, why it would go all natural, because there's no cap to stop it.
Doesn't look like a typical landfill.
Yeah.
That you'd see with no trees or anything on it.
Yep. Okay.
But that's your view, you can tell me what you think.
You got any questions?
No.
Ray?
And just as far as the soil volume too, this is typical, that volume of soil is typical for a project of this scale. So it's not anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. That answer all your questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll set up the microphone. So we can take questions now from the community. If you have did you have a question? Go ahead, Bob.
No, not specifically. I would offer my input being that I did do a site walk with Marilyn on Monday. I do have experience pretty extensively in this area with landfills at Otis, in the city of Taunton, and the town of Middleborough. So I do feel confident that I will be able to have some valuable input moving forward. I also do think I have a very clear understanding of the current state of things. So as a health agent, my two things that I would be interested in now is first hearing what the residents' concerns are more specifically, and then for me, going backwards now and educating myself about the full history of it that brought us to where we are.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. So the process would be, you raise your hand, we'll call on you. You need to come up to the mic, tell us your name and where you live. Go ahead, sorry, I know you've been waiting.
Members of the board, Madam Chairman. My name is Bill Russell. I'm the last, I believe, surviving member of the board that was here during the entire process of closing the landfill. And this is definitely back to the future. One of the things that the board needs to understand, which we, which hit us like in the head with a 2x4, is that it's a totally unlined landfill. And we had surrounded area was all residents with well water. I would like to know what happened to the monitoring wells that were in place at that time. We were also the health agents at that time. And there was a leachate burst on the Bridgewater side that was really severe. And that was taking some time to repair. They were bringing in clay, they were bringing everything in, because there was a big wetland there, a little pond, stump pond right there. We lost a couple of residents in the Circus Street area. It was an increased risk of a particular deadly disease, and the whole situation came to a head, and it was, as far as I know, resolved. My question is, you have a material that's not this with issues with water and contaminants, but at this level, and I don't know what that level is, but you also have runoff now. Where is that runoff going? That you are basically saying that you having trouble containing it. So where is it going if it's not making it into your retaining pond? Also, you're talking about openings in the original cover from the 90s. What's coming out of that, if anything? Hopefully there isn't anything. And what issues are going on with taking care of possible runoff and future exposure of the cover from the 90s. This is really an amazing thing that's kind of like hit me by surprise, and I don't have anybody else around other than some residents that witnessed everything that we went through. And we had a meeting in town and overwhelmingly voted that that was going to be completely closed, and nothing that was going to be potentially hazardous to the members of Halifax that went through all that and live in that area was ever going to happen again. And I don't understand how long this is going to take. We knew that it was going to eventually compress itself, but to what extent we didn't know, nobody knew. I mean, this was pretty new stuff, especially with an unlined landfill. Okay, there was nothing, no procedures, nothing was taken care of to protect the environment and the water level at the time. So the engineering company back then did they had a lot of experts and lawyers, and they had wells all the way around it. What happened to the town was supposed to be getting these reports on a regular basis. You must have that in your files. Somebody needs to know what's going on with that, because there's still a lot of people. Anybody in this room that lives in the area still on the lot? Everywhere. So this is something that we need to be on top of. And as far as coming out with the footprint of it to the, like you said, to the buffer, the land, you know, how many years is it going to take to complete this? Because the original dome was supposed to be done a long time ago. I appreciate your time. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And good luck to the people in Halifax. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
There was multiple questions there.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Start out with the wells.
If you don't, if the board doesn't mind.
Yeah.
Yes,
I can help
please.
a little bit with that. From the information that I've seen, we did a well inventory survey back about probably 4, 5, 6 years ago. It's embedded in one of our SRMPs. We identified the surrounding wells. There were some drinking water wells in the periphery outside of 500 foot. I think it's further away across the street, across 106, maybe Laurel's or up in that way. So that data on who's got wells, and that was done 4, 5, 6 years ago. It's in the SRMP. What I do want to mention is the wells that we're sampling right now, they're a series of 8 little shallow wells. 4 of them around Republic landfill, 4 of them around Maryland's landfill. And those shallow wells guard the first level of water, okay? So we can see if there's anything going into the aquifer, we can see it as the first shallow wells. And those are the wells that I pointed to that are cleaning up and look really good. But Republic, on their own initiative, as part of their post-closure work, has other wells around their facility that they do sample. I think it's semi-annual or annual. And I've seen their reports. I'm not sure who gets them, but they are sampling. They do it. I
know Bob Valari would get the Republic wells, and then we would send him our reports afterwards. So I do know they would be in the Halifax Board of Health agent's file.
So I'm concerned about what's going on now in the shallow groundwater, make sure that's not affected by what we're doing, but Republic is continuously sampling those other wells, the deeper wells, that may be in the same depth as the drinking water.
If I can add to that. First of all, yeah, the landfill was closed 30 years ago. It's BFI Republic landfill. Solid waste was put in the landfill and it was capped. We had nothing to do with that. That was BFI. It's been capped for 30 years. And a lot of the concerns that you were raising, very good concerns, legitimate concerns about the cap eroding and things washing into the land around the landfill and into the groundwater, is exactly what we're addressing. It's exactly what we're addressing. And point of fact, we're not opening the cap. We're not reopening the landfill. We are putting soil on top of the landfill in such a way that's designed to protect and control the landfill as it's closed, including managing the stormwater that's running off of it. Because as we mentioned earlier, because the landfill is settling, you know, instead of a 3-to-1 slope on the sides of the landfill, it's a concave. And the stormwater bench that's designed to direct the stormwater to a stormwater settling basin, it washed away. And so that stormwater is washing down the side of the landfill into wetlands on National Grid property where the power lines are. What we want to do is not expand the footprint, but start at the toe of that slope and fill in that concave area with soil that is approved by DEP, like Rick explained. In terms of the groundwater monitoring wells that were installed at the time of the closure, they're still there. And BFI Republic are still monitoring them. And DEP requires that all these landfills that were closed 30 or more years ago need to still be monitored by the owners of the landfill. And so they're still being monitored, and the results are publicly available. In addition to those existing monitoring wells, DEP, as part of our approval for the soil fill project, we put in additional wells that Rick talked about. So in terms of the danger of the landfill, this proposal is addressing those dangers. We're not increasing any risks that are there. Our proposal is designed to mitigate those risks.
Thank you.
And and this is really as DEP required us to do, is a public presentation so the public knows about it. But all the approvals, they go through DEP. So once we go through this public process, we're going to go into DEP, we're going to prepare final proposed technical design plans for DEP. Their engineers are going to look at it, make sure it is going to work, and then there's going to be an approval process from DEP.
So you're saying we don't have a vote?
No, there's no, DEP requires no, I mean, you can vote whatever you want to vote on, but the approval is through DEP, not through the local board of health. I just want to clarify that because
Why are we here?
Well, I know, why are we here?
Well, they're saying they have to educate to
Gotcha.
open it up
Okay,
so
so this
everyone
is
can have
nothing
it.
that we have a say in.
This is an
Sounds like it.
educational exercise to
Okay.
make sure the public and public officials are aware of this project and have the opportunity to provide input.
But you do have a say, and as a community resident too, you do have a say. That's why we do it, for public input.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
First to that, DEP told me...
I'm sorry, can you just come to the mic and tell us who you are? Sorry, where you live?
Chris Winowitz, 129 Circuit Street. Previously, the DEP told me to make their decision, they need letters of support, which are all on record from the Selectmen and Board of Health in the past, to approve these additional.
Okay.
So that's why I thought you were here for.
I
Then you
thought
gotta vote
that
and do a letter of support and send it to the DEP.
Bob had made it seem like we had to consider the options as well, but we can certainly look into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that's,
I mean, that's the way I've always done it with my
Yeah.
towns, to be honest.
Can I,
I mean, of course, I want my town support, so that's
Right.
why I've always done it.
Right.
in the previous phases of this project, the Board of Health has issued letters of support to DEP.
okay.
And if this board finds that it wants to do that, it's free to do that. But it's not a requirement for DEP approval.
And like I said, it was a little different with the last board too, when we were going through approving that higher soil use. That was the choice of the town and us, like, so that was an approval that came from your previous board for the use of the COM 97, which we chose not to use.
Okay,
So that-
but I suppose that we could write a letter to DEP also saying, is there a way to do this on a smaller scale? These are our concerns. Whether it made a difference, who knows, but we would have that option, I would guess.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Go ahead, Chris. You ask your questions.
The other thing, when this first started back around 2018, a couple of years after that, I contacted the DEP. They described a totally different situation. They described this as that they were running out of areas to put this contaminated soil in Massachusetts. They had to come up with new rules. Part of those rules, they found this dump. So Maryland could start this project of bringing it in from all over New England. At that time, and even in the original documents, it was nothing about fixing the cap. This was a place strictly to bring soil to get rid of it. At the time they started their project on the Bridgewater side, they found, that's only when they found there were problems with the cap. About 5 years ago, from the DEP, they said they had to fix that cap because it was holding up this project, which this project was totally different than fixing the cap. Once that cap was fixed, they keep saying that they're not expanding the footprint of the dump. The original dump, the slope was here and it ended at this fence, the town line. If you look at all their engineering documents now, which I think he had another one on the screen, all this was flat ground. This is all becoming a slope now. So they've well expanded it. They've also showed it's just not the top here, going from here all the way to here and then down is going to be 170 feet. All the difference from what he was saying. So that's not matching up with what they're saying at all either. The other thing with the dust monitors, they put one here and one here, roughly, if you look at their documents. And for those 3 months, the wind was, on the strong days, was kind of going this way. When they did their report, they didn't include any of the information on where the wind was coming from, to say if it was blowing to those monitors or it was going a different way. From there, I spoke to Region 1 EPA in Boston. I spoke to DP Air Quality Division. They're west of Boston. They said that was not the correct way to do a dust study, to do a real conclusive dust study. There should have been a ring of dust monitors around the whole property. So any certain day, they can tell which way the wind's going, pick up. The other thing that was brought up is that, you know, the EPA even told me it's down to 2.5 micron. That can be done by construction sites and everything, and that is the most dangerous, smallest particles. As little as 12-mile-an-hour winds can blow it for miles. When I brought out the EPA, I mean the DEP in Lakeville, the Solid Waste Division, who was approving this project, they told me they weren't even aware of the air quality standards. I even sent them a link to the EPA. He said that's another division, we don't get into that, so they didn't even put that in their requirements, a measure on that. But then when they finally did do it, they only used the 10 micron. They didn't even measure down to the 2.5, the smaller, more dangerous particles. When I questioned the DEP in Lakeville about that, they just wouldn't answer about it. Then he came out and met with us neighbors one time. We asked those questions again. Directly asked him, you go to your co-workers in the air quality division, since you even said yourself you're not aware of these air quality standards? He said no. He said we could call the air quality if we wanted to, ourselves.
May I respond?
Thank you, Chris. Sure.
Just to clarify the dust monitoring locations. So I got them on this plan here. So we had one monitor about here or so, and then another monitor.
Well, there's that one I was talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll look at
So
it.
they're all
The residences, what we were focusing on was the residences of concern. Our dust monitors were here and here.
But there's residents here. There's not.
Could you let him do the response?
But
Could you let him time to talk?
the prevailing
Please.
wind for the study, okay, for our focus study was west-southwest. And we captured all dust. We captured 2.5, we captured 10, less than 2.5, less than 10.
It wasn't in
We
your
captured all
report,
of
though.
that. Total dust.
It specifically says it was only 10. You have a report right to the
Okay,
DEP.
it clarifies total dust.
Okay, it says right in 10 micron only.
It was total dust, so it's total dust.
And so you only really care about a couple houses over here. You don't care about Highland Estates, Pine Street?
There's 50 acres in between that, which would be, you know, we get a lot of clearing with the thing. We have as you know, a lot of trail bikes too that make a lot of dust, but of course we care about those residents. But we do actually have 50 acres in between that. that is owned by Republic Services, that's industrial zone.
It just,
But the EPA even said it travels miles, so 50 acres isn't. So there were videos of it traveling miles across Pine Street before.
When I say prevailing wind during dry conditions, prevailing wind is generally from the west, northwest, westerly. The more damper, wetter winds are from the east and south and southeast during storms. So what we wanted to focus on, it was a dry time of year, dry dust. We saw where the dust was going. We saw where it was coming off the landfill. We wanted to look in that direction as a focus.
And these are voluntary, in other words,
Yeah.
you don't have to do them, but I want to do them.
and just to touch on it, since then, like she said, we've been applying the Gorilla Snot, what they call it, and that's basically, it's a polymer that we mix with water, spray it on the landfill. It basically glues the loose soil down to the landfill. So since then, there's been virtually no dust issues.
It was approved by DEP.
Yeah, it was also approved.
And you keep your vegetation on the side, so you're good there.
It's used at many other landfills in the state, and, you know, it was actually developed in Afghanistan for when the helicopters were landing and generating dust, you know, to protect the soldiers over there. But that's what we use out there, and since then, it's, you know, mitigated the dust issues out there about 99%.
Can I ask how you monitor that dust or determining there is no dust?
We spray it out there several times a year, if not quarterly or more.
But since 10 micron and 2.4 micron is invisible, how are you determining it's not there?
Well, we're gluing it down. I mean,
We're going by visible dust.
So
So
EPA says visible dust isn't as a concern, it's the smaller invisible. It's the federal
again,
regulation.
this stuff is not, yeah, this isn't hazardous material, it's not hazardous soil, it's not, you know, toxic.
Well, under EPA regulations, it doesn't matter what the soil is. Those particles alone, whether it's contaminants or not, are dangerous.
Okay, so I think there's a point of question about the air quality and the dust, so that is something we'll continue to look into. We can go back and forth with I said, you said, but I think we can move on to the next question. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Deb Winowitz, 60 Sycamore Drive. That's all nice, what we're hearing tonight about corrective measures. But what I'm wondering is, why weren't these corrective measures done on the first extension request, not the third? And I would bet this isn't the end. In another couple of years, there'll be another extension request, because they need to keep going higher to stay in business. And let's face it, it is a business. It's a money-making operation. And I urge this board, even though you don't have voting rights on this, which to me is wrong, has a huge effect in this town, to write that you do not approve this. This expansion is not in the best interest of the town of Halifax or its residents, and would further compound existing environmental, public health, and community impacts. Maryland's Landing is already above the natural tree line. And I don't care if we get once in a while little puffs that we read tonight. Shouldn't be any. Should not be any. Allowing that dust has fine particulate matter blowing all over our neighborhoods. Shouldn't be happening. Residents have observed that. They have videos of the dust. It's only going to get worse the higher they go. Increasing that height would just intensify the hazards. It's dirty dirt being brought in. It's contaminated dirt. It's not beach sand or sandbox sand. It's the largest, no, I wanted people to allow you to finish, you allow us to finish. It's also important, which someone has not brought up tonight, is that traffic on our roads. In less than 3 months, 100,000 tons have been brought into Halifax. And considering an 18-wheeler holds about 30 tons, that's between 3,000 and 4,000 trucks, one direction, because they're also traveling our roads to leave. And millions have been brought in since 2017-18 when this went into business. We don't need that. And to what Mr. Russell said, oh, I remember that very well because it was my well water that was supposedly safe to drink until it wasn't. Okay? That vote in 1993 was 399 to 41. And I think that said loud and clear that this town wanted that landfill closed, capped, and done. Not just for household waste, but any type of operation. Our intention was that nothing would ever be there again. Thank you.
Thank you. That actually, you bring up a good point, actually, a question I have now. Last time you did talk a lot about how this would be it. You were going to be closing it. This would be the last step. Didn't really hear that tonight. Is that still the plan? Like, once this is complete,
yes,
there'd be no more fill. This would be the end.
I don't believe it.
Well, you know,
It's a third request.
with no, disregard to the Winowitz family, they've had a problem with the dump since the old days. I get it. We were wronged by the dump too. But we're here correcting the problems.
Okay, so this is still your plan is a finite plan,
It's a
still
finite plan.
fanning to close.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Just want to
there are major
clarify, because
problems
I
out
feel
there.
like we talked about this last time and didn't come across tonight. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know Bob, Valerie last time had nothing but great things to say about how you rectified a lot of the issues that were at the old dump. And I believe every word of that. The question now is moving forward, the residents' concerns, and obviously we're here to hear some of those. So
I mean, I deeded certain property on my own side when I was doing stuff, so it wouldn't. When you're doing something good, everybody thinks you're doing something bad.
I have a question for you guys.
If you wanted it right now, hey, it doesn't go again, that's fine. This is Republic's land, but we're fixing, and there's nobody better to fix it than us.
and I completely appreciate that. I think point was made last time that you inherited quite a mess and have done a lot to rectify that.
Why wasn't that done at the first extension?
That's, I was gonna
a
ask,
separate
So, yeah,
question,
so
but
I was gonna ask for you to answer her question for.
The first
Yep.
extension was just on Maryland's property. That was the original fill over there. Was on Maryland, what it was initially.
Expanding
If they want the real
Maryland's-
long story, it's because we couldn't be, if I wouldn't come to the table, so.
That was
they-
phase 2 and 3.
They left, and they left a shitstorm of us stuff on the Bridgewater side. They never put a drain in, everything collapsed, all the dirt was on our side. My father-in-law back in the 90s had to take him to court. They settled out of court, they still didn't come back and fix the drainage. God love my father-in-law, he was gone. Now,
Not a problem.
a lot of problems, yeah. So now I'm trying to, rectify our land that we can't use because it's completely contaminated from what they did.
And if
So-
and if you can't do it this time, there'll be another extension request?
Please let me talk, I just let you. So that's why Maryland's leading, this first phase started on Bridgewater. That's when you heard from Eric Badger the last time, how we said just bring in the stuff. We worked great with DEP. They did make them put in a drain and fix the cap on their bottom side. And then it was to fix their western slope on the next phase. So now, like I said, Mark Dacre's been down there. This landfill, if there's anyone in the state needs a correction. Why? I believe because they got closed so quick that no proper protocols were put in. I wasn't there doing the landfill back in the day, but I can tell you, being down there for years, that back basin hasn't taken an ounce of water. It's gone in our wetlands, so.
and I can appreciate, and like I said, Bob last time had lots of praise for the job you've done to fix the poor situation that you inherited, but on the same side, we can see the residents' concern of, they were told that this was going to be closed, and now all of a sudden it's reopened and we're still adding things to it.
It's not reopened, again, that's kind
Well,
of
but I'm sorry, you're right, it's
misconception.
not reopened, but
We're not taking.
things are still coming in. It's growing,
but
it's still growing.
The material that we're taking in, I think Dawn was gonna speak on this, but it's technically unregulated. We could take the material out of this site, the soil that we're bringing in, and put it on any commercial, industrial piece of land in the state without DEP or town authorization. Up to 100,000 yards, then you start to,
So I guess I used the wrong word. They're concerned that they thought it was closed, but it's still growing.
I'm just saying, that's how low the levels of
It's a post-closure.
contaminants are in
And
this
please
stuff.
think
It's-
about our roads and what I said on the tonnage.
It's what's
Please.
considered clean soil for this type of site, is the soil that we're bringing in. Typically, when you're doing a landfill cap repair, you bring in what's known as COM 97 soil. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term at all. but it's basically much higher levels than what we're proposing at this site. We're bringing in what is considered clean soil at this site. It's under the RCS2 that's not regulated, it's below those. So once you get above RCS2, then you're DEP, you're basically creating a release. Then you get your release tracking number. I'm sure you guys have probably seen some notifications. RTNs come in through DEP. Every time there's an RTN, I believe you guys are supposed to get notified of it. This soil is below those levels, so technically it can go to any industrial commercial site in the state as long as there's no private wells within 500 feet, as you mentioned.
Okay.
Not doing anything is,
Frederick Hawley, 457 Laurel Street, and fortunately I'm married to a toxicologist. Can you guys hear me?
It's for, I'm sorry, it's for the recording, and I think you might have something, like for the town and for anybody who's viewing it. Thank you.
Frederick Hawley, 457 Laurel Street. First thing I wanted to mention, you talked about wells. When I went to the town of Halifax this summer to inquire about our well, it wasn't listed on their records. So you said you checked all the wells.
Some are.
Right. How many aren't? Mine wasn't.
We have records, that's all.
Okay. My wife is a toxicologist, and one of my questions that I know that we would have is, Mr. Russell, correct, told us that there was already a blowout in the existing BFI system, which contaminated and leached contaminants into the surrounding water. You are putting hundreds, millions of tons on top of this existing BFI landfill. And I foresee that we're going to have the potential for another blowout that's going to create more problems of contaminated materials that are below from the original landfill that you're piling on top of. I foresee issues with that.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, if you could address the concern, that'd be great.
The RCS2 standards has a leaching component that DEP has developed.
I'm not talking about what you're putting on top. I'm talking about what's down below that already blew out, and Mr. Russell said it already killed off a couple of residents here.
Claimed. Do you want to
There were
talk about the
fires
CDC
under
stability?
That was probably from the
It
waste.
sounds like an Aaron Brockovich situation to me,
and that's kind of how I felt when I got involved with this, trying to protect it.
but I don't understand why we're building on top
Yeah,
of
so
it.
our civil engineer, CEC, environmental consultants, they've looked at the stability, they've done stability analysis of this landfill and the design, the material that we're putting on top of it, and specifically looked at blowouts on the side slopes and what we're putting on there, and made sure that what we're putting on there does not present the danger to blowouts.
Just
How
like
can
we
they
did on-
assure us of that?
They're engineers.
It's a book about this big, they do the stability test, just when we got, certified to take into catch basins and stuff like that, it's all calculated out.
And we have a letter from them too, we can share. It's a stamped PE, professional engineered letter. They looked at this, specifically looked at the side slope analysis for blowouts.
This is just a conceptual thought, they have to go through mountains of stuff to make sure that it is the right plan, so things could change, but just saying this is the concept. But yeah, I mean, that's what happened to us, it blew off on our side. I mean, the landfill had several fires when it closed. It's, what I don't think people are understanding is there are issues out here that we are trying to correct, and they're not even on ours anymore. Like we started with Bridge, but there's major issues out there. So
But doesn't all this weight create a hydrological effect of pushing these previous contaminants into our aquifers?
Actually,
You're telling me that your engineers have determined that what's below the existing landfill, what you're putting on top, don't worry about it.
Yes, they have looked at that. They're putting a stamp.
I don't buy it.
If I
I don't buy
could
it.
address that, I'm not a technical guy, I'm a lawyer, right? But what I learned from DEP, and I worked at DEP for many years, is the biggest threat to contaminating the groundwater from solid waste that had long been buried in the landfill is if the cap is disturbed. If the cap gets punctured or exposed. What we're doing is protecting that cap from being exposed.
Okay,
So
my
what
other-
we're doing is not going to increase risk, it's going to mitigate risk to groundwater.
So another question that I have about the berm that you're proposing along the edge. Is this an impervious berm? Or are we going to be able, is there going to be the propensity for water to leach contaminants through this berm into my drinking water?
Yep, so the water that's coming down, once we repair this thing, the water that's gonna be coming down is gonna be clean stormwater. It's not gonna come in contact with any waste. There's RCS1, the cleaner.
Well, it says it's RCS2
Well, not on the
materials
very
that are
top.
put on top.
No, not on the very top. There's a cap that's going on top of it, which consists of RCS1 material and then loam and seed and some trees that's going on top of it. But, so it'll never come in contact with the RCS2 soils, the waste, the trash waste underneath it. But again, leachate is generated by the surface water penetrating through the landfill, coming in contact with the waste and leaching out. This design keeps the surface water as surface water, redirects it down the side slopes into basins and then it can be properly controlled instead of pooling on the cap in the divots that are currently out there and penetrating through, creating.
And there's no way to fix the issue without going out to the edge
And,
of the
again,
boundary?
like you talked about the blowouts, that's also why we're putting material on the side slopes. If you only put it on the top, then it wants to go out. When you have the 3-to-1 slopes on the side, that's what makes it stable.
Okay. I don't buy it, but
I'm Amy Troop, 10 Hillside Avenue, Halifax. I have a few questions. You say that you have shallow wells to catch water to test. Can you tell me how many inches or feet those are, or?
Yeah, they're typically 15 to 30 feet below grade.
Do you have, how many are 30?
Probably half of them are 30 and half of them are 15.
Can you show me where they are?
Yeah, approximately. This doesn't show it, but I can tell you where they are. So we have 3 wells, 1, 2, 3 along this slope.
And how deep are those?
They're about 10 to 15 feet. And there's another well here. That's another.
That's okay.
Don't touch it.
Do you want to go back?
Yeah, go back.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
I think there's a hole. Welcome.
Republic. That's what you said. 4 other, they're a little bit deeper, about 15 to 30 feet. 1.
Hold on, you said there's one here. How deep is that?
15 feet, 10 to 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet along this ring. And then the Republic wells are 15 to 30 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's what we agree with DEP to monitor for our soil placement. Okay, that's what we're Republic has other wells all around. They monitor.
Which one's a 30?
Here, this ring here. Actually, it goes like this. That's the
And
our ring is
how
up
many is from here to
here.
here?
4 that we monitor.
And how many total did you say that you had?
8.
I thought you said that it was
No,
more
it said
than
8.
that.
He said there's more, but he said 8.
There's surface water here, and surface water here on the bottom. Plus Republic's wells.
Okay. And who tests the water?
Who tests the water? We do.
Okay. And do you have any peer engineers on that testing, or is it just you?
I do it. I'm a certified LSP.
Right, and nobody backs it up?
I have a consultant called Environmental Science Technologies. They're out there testing all the time. They help me.
Okay. Do you hire them?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're under your contract?
Yes.
So, and he's not part of the project team itself. He's contracted through us to oversee. He's licensed by the state and contracted.
I have my
through
own
us.
company.
Yes, he doesn't work for us.
Okay. What other sites have you done?
What other reuse sites?
Yep.
Probably 10 to 15.
Can you name them?
Let's see. Blue Hill Cemetery, 2 in Northborough, 2 in Charter, Middleborough, Raynham, Douglas. Now, I'm kind of like, I've started this whole procedure back 20, 30 years ago. I can name it all. I can name them all for you. I got a list at home.
Yeah. Can you email the Board of Health, please, that list?
Sure.
Thank you. Let's see here. You mentioned that you have new wetlands.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
What are the new wetlands?
Along the power lines, there's some wetlands that have formed over there just due to the surface water not draining appropriately into the basin, so now it's draining out into the power lines and settling out in the low spots.
When did you discover those?
I didn't discover them. Yeah, I didn't discover
So
them.
they're what we call, and I'm pretty sure we believe,
Isolated.
they're isolated on, they should be on your bylaw. Because I know when I did the AM, rather went back, because I thought they were in your bylaw. So if you took back and you go back to an old map, like say 1989, Amy, when the landfill was, just starting to go in different phases, there was absolutely no wetlands over there. When you look at the wetlands on Great Cedar Swamp on the Bridgewater side with us, those wetlands are solid, they're Great Cedar Swamp, not one change over there. The wetlands that weren't there when the landfill, 1989, 90, that are now there in between where the power lines are and the fence of the landfill is what we call isolated wetlands. They're not your natural wetlands, they're derived from being fed drainage. So they were fed, stormwater. And you do that, you'll get your plants and you'll get some isolated wetlands. So that's what we meant by that.
And when did those first get noticed?
I mean, I wasn't around in the early days, but I know, I would gladly send the map to them too. We'd have to go on Mass Mapper to see when they first started growing, but they definitely weren't part of the original landfill. So they were derived by stormwater going down the eastern slope with no place else to go. Because if they didn't go to, not an ounce goes into that back basin.
Can we get a history of the Mass Mapper and get it to the Board of Health, please?
Yeah, you can look at the Mass
And
Mapper,
I
and I'll
think-
get you the old map. We have the old map my father-in-law used that had the landfill and, the delineation of the wetlands. There was no wetlands on the eastern slope.
Okay, great. So if we could discover that, that would be a really good idea, and we should have our conservation agents look at that as well. Let's see here. So the water that you test, is it captured in those wells? Are those the only test sites that you have?
Right.
And the wind capturing devices, the two of them that you had, what size were those?
They were quantitative air monitoring devices. I'm not sure what size you mean, but they were continuously monitoring, quantitative evaluating. I get the name of it, 2 or 3 years ago.
Give me an idea, is it the size of a car? Is it the size of?
It's set up on a tripod with a device on top that sucks in the monitor, goes through a filter. And then,
So is it this big?
Yeah,
Is it
it's the
this?
size of me.
Like a barrel, a garbage barrel?
Sure.
Okay, so you had 2 of those? Okay. And you're gonna get me the other sites? Okay. So you have VS, is that the correct thing, the VS2 soils that you want to put on top of this? Is that what you called it?
RCS.
Sorry, RCS, okay. Who tests that at the sites? Are those peer engineered?
Correct.
So
Your LSPs.
okay, so when the LSP tests that soil, did you then trust all of the things they said, or did you have it retested to make sure what was coming out of there?
I know almost all of these LSPs. I know their companies. I know the diligence they pay. I know how they write. I know how they convey. It's all supposed to, they have rules they got to abide by.
Yeah.
The MCP, the same as I do, for characterizing sites. There's certain procedures they have to follow as well as me. It's all in the MCP and policy guidance done by DEP. So.
You want to talk about QACCs?
Yeah.
What was that, I'm sorry?
So, they're...
What did he ask?
As I mentioned in the discussion, they're required to test the soil that they feel is representative of that material leaving that site. They put their license on it. I look at what they're saying. DEP has the right to audit what they're doing as well, as a side feature. They can audit anything they want anytime. I've been audited. All of us LSPs have been audited. So we are compelled by the LSP board with our license and DEP to do the right thing, because if you don't do it right, DEP can throw a lot of weight at you in a board investigation. So that's something that LSPs are fully aware of, and it's a very thorough program. As far as what Jared mentioned, we have a quarantine program at the site where at least every month, I take a random load that comes into Maryland's Landing that is undergoing screening and visual classification by your team that's fully trained, and we get a pile. And I randomly test that pile, just to see if that soil is what they said it was. And that's part of our requirement, to do at least, we call it a random audit. That could be a targeted audit. If I don't like something that's happened, I don't like the feel it, or we see something like a piece of debris or something, or it smells or something, we can target audit that pile. And some of them then return back.
Do you let them know when you're gonna be doing any of the audit?
No, not the
We
way
audit
now.
ourselves, just to add, every day. My staff is trained with the PID machines. Every load we are with. Why? Because again, it's our family out there, it's our property. We are with every single load.
Okay, so this is a closed site, so who allowed you to start bringing dirt in?
Into the Bridgewater side first?
Well, some of it's on Halifax, is that
Well,
correct?
How it started was the Bridgewater side first, because we couldn't use our land after the landfill was closed. So we started filling on the Bridgewater side. That came through approval of Bridgewater's Board of Health and Mass DEP. And then when we were merging it with the Halifax to correct the western stuff, that was a two-town project. But it's always pretty much been a two-town project, even though it started with Bridgewater, as I communicated back in the day to 2011 to Charlie Seelig, like, you know, trucks will be coming in on 106. You know, they make a short turn right afterwards, you know, so, you know, my job is to make sure people are aware of what's going on. Most people, when they say, where are you? Like, they don't even know we're there. But it's my job to make sure the police have a code there, that everybody knows that it's there. We're there 7 days a week, or, you know, right through the woods to grandma's house, and down we come.
Can you send us the communications that you had with our former town administrator?
You're just looking for like the truck traffic.
Pretty much all of it, please.
See what I can dig up on the files.
And then, also, so when did Bridgewater have to vote to reopen, or were they ever closed?
It was the expansion that never went. So it was designed to be the expansion of the Halifax landfill, but they, asking me to shut the landfill down, it never went. So the expansion of the landfill never went.
All right, but so the
I'm not the
expansion,
best historian because I was young and having babies then,
Right.
but the Bridgewater never took in municipal solid waste, so hence we were able to start, you know, there's no cap, I mean, there's no cap on our side, just where they had to fix it on their stuff sloping on us, but we never had trash on Bridgewater.
Just a quick question, does any of this go through conservation at all?
Absolutely.
And do you have any interest in conservation with Bridgewater?
I am the conservation chair. I was asked to join in 2012 after I did my filings.
Doesn't that seem like a conflict of interest?
Not when you weren't on the board, and anything I did after was like an extension, I recused myself. But I was not on the board when I didn't even know about wetlands. They approached me afterwards to come on the board because they liked what I was fighting for, actually, with the company trying to, you know, discharging into our wetlands. So yeah, I learned a lot about wetlands afterwards, but no, I was not on the board at the time, and I am happily loving conservation, and I've learned a lot.
okay.
There's no further filings on Bridgewater conservation.
Okay. So, how much have you, and forgive me if you've already put this, but you made the Bridgewater side higher, is that correct?
Bridgewater side, we left at the height of, we haven't finished it. It's kind of like, if you take a phase and finish it, then you can impose on the next one. So we don't want, we discussed this with both town officials. I've had every probably board of selectmen throughout the years come down, you know.
For Bridgewater or for
From
Halifax?
Halifax and from Bridgewater, because we run, after we went through the original approvals with them, we did do some stuff like catch basins and remediation waste that was able to run through Board of Selectmen, if you're just making sure that the public is aware. These are also benefits to the town. So what we do on the Bridgewater side is we want that to be the last to be filled. Why? And you're welcome to come down anytime. I get excited showing people around.
So the footprint's expanded?
We leave, the footprint's not expanded, it's the same footprint. We leave the up and down road so that nobody's going over a landfill, you know, dangerously or anything like that. So it would be your last filling. It's, the height on that has not changed to be filled, but we want to make sure that the trucks come in Bridgewater and safely exit Bridgewater. You don't want trucks trying to exit down an old landfill or anything like that. So we safely have an up road and a down road. Again, anybody can come and visit me if you want.
How much has the elevation changed on the Bridgewater in the past 7 years?
You can go year by year on Google Earth and
It
watch
is-
it from flat
we
to
haven't
mountain.
been-
Let's have her answer.
We haven't really been filling on the bridge, but we've left it operational, which means we've left it for the trucks to enter and exit.
So I don't know, like, was it, like 50 feet off the ground and now it's 100?
So it was
Like-
excavated back to because it was daily cover for the landfill, so it was excavated probably down to, I believe, about 50, 55.
And then now what is it?
They just actually flew it the other day. We're below level of where.
What's the height of it?
I don't monitor it all the time. I don't know, 90 in one spot.
Does that say 146?
That's the,
148?
that's the new plans.
Yeah,
Okay, so where is the current elevation?
it's not on.
It's not on.
Can you get us the current elevation of Bridgewater and Halifax, please?
So, yeah, so if you go on DEP's website, all of this.
No, I want it, what you guys have for record.
It's all publicly.
It's all public.
Great. Can you send it to the Board of Health in the town of Halifax, please? I want to know what the height of Bridgewater is right now, what it was before you started Phil 7 years ago, right?
Saying if you want to know that information, it's publicly available. We're not hiding any of it.
Okay, I just want to know, so,
Well, just to-
so the
if I
board.
could clarify, on the Bridgewater side, there was never a landfill there. And in 2013, Maryland started using that land that she owned for a soil fill project. So the starting elevation was ground level.
Well, what is ground level and then what is it now?
Whatever the level is above sea level. But there was no mound there. It was a natural level of the ground.
Can we have heights? Like, I need the
Well,
heights. I mean, like, we
you
can,
can look it up on GIS.
please send it
We
to
don't
the town of
have that
Halifax.
information easy to us,
But I thought it was public
To answer your
record.
question, it started at ground level, and we built it up to an elevation.
But what's ground level?
So if I could
that
take a
is
moment,
probably
please.
130.
So Amy, you can request all this for you, but we'll make our own requests. So if you want this
Sure.
information, you can
But I think
request it.
it's for
If
the
it's
town.
public record,
Yeah,
but we
it's for
can
the
look
town.
it up. So we can't, so if you would like these requests, you can make requests for yourself, that's great, but, we'll ask them what information we would like.
And then the other thing is, I think, what else? Oh, we didn't get an answer on the length of time yet, but the runoff is going to the new wetlands, and is it going to anywhere else
Currently or proposed, you're talking about?
currently?
It's currently uncontrolled going into wetlands. Our plan is to control that stormwater and divert it to regulated stormwater basins that'll be treated before it's discharged into the groundwater.
But it's not now.
Correct.
And is it going all over then? Everywhere?
It's basically going into the national grid right away, where isolated wetlands were formed because of the uncontrolled discharge of stormwater off the BFI landfill, which is what we're proposing to fix.
Is the current height of Bridgewater higher than what Halifax is now?
No.
So if you only need 158 feet, why are you asking for 170?
In order to establish a 5% grade from the break of slope to the crown, to establish a slope so the stormwater can shed instead of just sitting on top of the landfill and creating a hole and digging into the liner.
So the
And
peak,
if you remember, Amy, if you remember what I said on the Halifax side, we had 8 acres to work with. So technically now the landfill western slope is over there. So there was plenty of room to make that 3 to 1.
all right, but my question
Sometimes
is,
it's confusing without seeing, I know.
So
So-
from 158 to 170, that 12 feet is necessary to create a slope so the stormwater flows off the top of the landfill and doesn't just sit there, which it is doing now.
so truly the height would be 170 and not 100,
170, right,
and not 158?
right.
Okay, because I thought that this said 158.
No. The break of slope is 158, and
Okay.
it goes up another 12 feet at a 5% grade.
that you won't see.
And somebody else touched on this, but how would putting soil on top prevent or stop the decomposing of the landfill items already there?
Is protecting the cap from eroding and tearing and being exposed to the environment and making the trash under the cap vulnerable to being, creating leachate that will go into the groundwater. So ultimately, we're proposing to protect the groundwater from being impacted by leachate generated from stormwater leaching through feet and feet of waste that was disposed there back in the 70s and 80s.
Which is why DEP isn't looked in the 30-year moratoriums, because they're finding that once they hit 30, they're seeing the problems. So they're not gonna get out of, and if they'll start, they get out of their monitoring system at 30 years, they ain't gonna, there's too many issues they're now seeing, especially with.
Can I just ask real quick, how many tons of soil have been brought in since 2018? How many tons?
Mike, without any.
I couldn't give you an exact number.
Doesn't have to be exact.
Probably several million. by this
7
point.
million tons.
Several million by this point.
Several million.
Probably what, 2? More, 2.5?
And yet the cap is
Something
not
something
yet
around there, yeah,
protected.
probably 2.5, still not protected.
It's still not protected.
It's a large area to cover.
Okay,
Yeah, so
I have one more point to make, and then that's,
Yeah, one more question.
all right, so
You can, they'll have to.
this is, so in the town of Halifax, you have to be 20 feet from a sideline and 50 from a front and 40 from a back. So you're looking to go like right to the edge of your property lines. And I really would say that this would need a site plan application and a zoning board of appeals variance in order to do so.
Yeah, the existing closed landfill already goes right to the property boundary.
But you're proposing a change to that, which would be,
No,
You
it's
are.
like the slope is collapsed, and we're gonna fill in the slope to a 3-to-1 slope as required by DEP. So we're not expanding the footprint of the landfill or the soil component of the landfill.
I think that one schematic you have is confusing because you've got the red and you're like, this is where we are now, and then you got the blue, this is where we're going. I think that is a point of confusion for a lot of people because it's certainly based on that
Well,
picture, it
come
looks
up
like
with
you're
the graphic up
expanding.
again, you know,
Yeah, the blue is
if you walk
actually
through it.
the end of the land, it's the chain. So if anybody's walked down the power lines, that's the end of the landfill, right there, boom.
Which is,
So you're going up from that, you're not going out, you're
We're
going
not going
up.
out. No,
So
we're
it
going
already
up.
ends at the blue,
It ends at
you're
the blue.
proposing to go up from
Yeah.
there.
Why don't we come back to that
so
other slide?
the town line's here, the chain link fence is here.
No, it's not. It's
No.
We'll look back later. So the red, again, the red represents the current approved filling project. Okay, so we're filling right out to the edge of the slopes right now, over on Maryland's
It's just
property
on
over
the top
here.
of the landfill.
Yep, on top of, just on the top of it. Now your side slopes start down here.
Okay.
Going down.
And show the bottom of the
If you can
slope.
see the black dash here, that's existing landfill boundary. It goes all the way up and around, all the way up and around over here, past the red, where we're proposing to fill on this side. The landfill boundary goes all the way up and around. This blue line is where we're gonna be filling to with the current. It doesn't even go onto the the next phase of this doesn't even go onto the Bridgewater side of it, because there's no modifications needed, because it's not a landfill. The only landfill portion is on the Halifax side, and that's, why we're here tonight to talk about that.
You're talking landfill, but what about the soil reuse? Because on the other map we just changed, it's all this too.
No, it's so, if you remember, there's very, very
Here's the
minor.
town line, right here.
There's very, very
Here's-
minor
Here's
grading.
the town line.
Yeah, exactly.
144.
That's the current permit of
That's not part of the landfill.
But it's a play on words.
No, that also,
You're
that's,
talking landfill, but we're also doing the soil reuse and creating another line.
no. So if you know, the current permit is for elevation 144, the current permit, not what we're asking for. Right here, Bridgewater side, 144, that's the proposed height on this new plan over there. Over here, your top of the slope, over here, where we were talking about that line going up, is 160, and it goes up to 158 in the corner over here. There's one little ridge line that's gonna go across at 170, but getting up to there, you're going up 1 foot over every 20 feet. So it's almost flat, but it's enough to shed the water off and keep it from penetrating into the cap and really pooling under, pushing the liner down is what we're trying to avoid out there.
Okay.
So it's a small ridge line that's gonna be hidden by the trees.
I understand what
I still think that it needs a site plan and a variance from your zoning board of appeals and conservation.
This is the Pine Street view
It's,
here.
the board member already pointed out, this is what the old dump looked like. The dirt and top down was higher.
No, this is it right here. This has been engineered, plan.
I won't argue, but even the board member pointed out that that looks like what the old dump was.
It does
before you
look
started.
exactly like it. 'Cause
If you go out now, because I have
12
pictures,
feet.
it's above the tree line.
It's 12 feet. And just,
Okay. Is there any member of this community who has not spoken yet that would like to ask a question?
Bill Russell actually had a
Oh,
question.
go ahead. Well, this gentleman hasn't had a chance yet.
My name's John Doe. I live at 165 Walnut Street, also own Zero Highland Woods. I am one of your abutters, actually. So, I understand, I'm the last house in Halifax. So, I understand that lining definitely needs to be repaired. Probably should have been like 15 years ago. And I get the repairs need to be done. What I don't understand is, does it have to be to this extreme? There's a lot of fill getting brought in here. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're hired by them, correct? Okay, so you're the one that ultimately says what goes in there for fill. You put the stamp on it. Okay? You were hired, not someone independent. And that's about it, really, because it does have to be fixed. I mean, as a resident in the town, we have to do something. I mean, if any of you guys have walked around it, you saw it. It's a mess. It's been that way for a long time. Has to get fixed. But I think we're going to an extreme here, okay? And is there profit in this? There's some huge profit in this. What's the town take back on this? What are we getting? I mean, we're gonna get our dump fixed and capped, supposedly, that was done back in '95. When I built my house, was the only reason I built back there, because that place got closed, stamped, done deal.
Yep.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be there, all right? Now, all of a sudden, I hear trucks running 24/7. How long is this project gonna take?
24/7.
Not 24/7, but I mean literally from 7 o'clock in the morning. Actually, you guys are right on the button too, because I'm out there, 7 a.m. you guys have those machines running, and they probably go till 3. You cut off a little early.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Easier.
But I mean, literally, I noticed it like a month and a half, 2 months ago, because you have started on the Bridgewater side, and I'm like, is the dump back open again? What's going on? And then I find out this. So now as a resident, I'm gonna get to listen to this for another, what, 8 years?
No, that's why we-
5
no,
years,
that's
probably?
right. No,
What
that's
is
why-
the projected time frame on this
there was a
project?
couple of questions there, but the real benefit to the town is that we're gonna be fixing this site, and the leachate and, everything else that's coming out of this is gonna stop. That's the real benefit to the town. The other benefit is there's a tipping fee associated with this that we're giving back to the town, $1 a ton. So every ton that we bring in there, $1 goes back to the town. Every truck that pulls in there, it's, $30 to $35 a truck that's going back to the town directly for them to spend on whatever they want.
Money's not worth it.
The duration of this project, we're projecting it's gonna be between probably 2 and maybe 3 years to get this volume swilled.
A lot quicker than if mom and grandma were doing it.
And like I said, my only other
And then-
concern is as far as testing of soils, okay? You know what I mean? And I trust you, it's just that you are hired by them. And my only other question is, you guys must have some really good engineers, because you know what? I'm a carpenter, and the way I think of it is, you got something here that's failing, got all this fill underneath it. We're gonna add all that weight to the top of it, right? Okay, what's gonna keep that membrane from puncturing? Because me as a carpenter, if I did that on a building or something, that top structure's only as good as what's down underneath. And if that bottom is collapsing and giving away, then guess what? That line is gonna collapse again.
Yep, they look at it.
Bill?
I have two quick points. One is your test wells. What are the depth? Are you actually into groundwater, the same water that the residents in the area are getting their water from? How deep are you going down? Because back when it was engineered by the BFI, trying to have a future expansion, they could not, with all their wells, figure out where the plume, what direction it was flowing in. So I'd like to know where you're getting your well and how much water you're getting out of there. Just like
answer that question.
You don't have to do it now. There's any other thing, because it's almost time for my tea. And the other thing is, no offense, but you're dealing with the most powerful board in the town, with police powers. And that gentleman, who was part-time, can shut down any business that is going to be detrimental to the health and benefit of the community. Brilliant. You're in charge, kids.
And that's why I'm always keeping communications open.
You want me to respond to the well depths or no?
True.
Okay, sure.
I think we already said 15 and 30 feet, right? He might not have heard that, 15 and 30
Groundwater
feet.
system I'm looking
long
at to see if
agenda.
there's any impact. That's the groundwater system I'm interested in. The public monitors deeper wells around the facility. They've been doing it for a long time.
They were made to.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I think we have one more.
Phil Salvatore, 475 Laurel Street. My question is actually going to come, preserve the tree line. I think it's...
First line, sir.
First line, there we go. Oh, there we go. I'm talking about the tree line here from Pine Street. But the people that live on Laurel Street, especially those houses that pass Circuit, right there, gentlemen, he's gonna get every morning he pulls out of his driveway, there's not a tree line there that's gonna block him.
No.
No, and then what about the, so there's no view here from Laurel Street, and there's no view from Plymouth Street, 106. There's absolutely no tree line there. All you gotta have is the industrial park at the entrance. And if, who goes down to the transfer station? You pull out at the transfer station, you look right down, and you're gonna see one big mound. And it's just ugly looking. It's ugly looking now. And how many more feet you wanna add onto it?
My son already sits 2 minutes earlier than it did last year.
Yep, so, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
So I mean, just to address that point, if there's concerns from that side, you know, we're willing to add trees going down the other side too, if you think that will help to mitigate it.
back.
What? I think there's one lady in the back who hasn't had a chance yet. Hi.
Thank you. Joanne Russell. I live on Old Plymouth Street. And I just want to say, in terms of education, there's a lot of residents who have no clue Maryland's Landing even exists. They have no, they drive to work, they do their thing, they have no idea what's happening. One of the questions I had was, you asked it, sir, what does Halifax get out of this welcome mat that we've thrown out? What do the residents, how do we benefit? And you're telling me $1 or $30 a truckload? Whoa, it's not a whole big benefit. The other thing I want to bring out is, please do not, no offense, but the first gentleman got up and told us that dust is not toxic. Oh, I beg to differ with you. I have asthma. Trust me, dust is toxic. Dust is toxic to babies, children, elderly, people with lung disease, people with asthma, and there's plenty of us out there. And dust, you cannot stand up and tell us dust is not toxic.
Irritant.
You stood here and told us that it wasn't toxic. It is. I feel like also that we're receiving decontaminated soil. Everything's decontaminated until it isn't. Plain and simple. The other thing I'd like to know is, I'm not sure, Robert, if you could enlighten us, what role do you play in terms of your recommendations? Do you represent the townspeople? Do you represent, along with the Board of Health? How do you protect us, the citizens of Halifax?
Fairly loaded question, but specifically, as a health agent, obviously I'm going to look at first the imminency of a health threat, and that would lend itself to the action taken. If it was immediate, if there's an immediate threat to health and safety, that's the sort of thing that warrants a closure or cease and desist. There's also more extended studies that need to be taking place at times. I mean, it's a lot of it's a case-by-case situation in this sort of position. But to answer your question, as a health agent, I'm ethically obligated to do my best to protect the health and safety of the residents of whatever town or municipality or region that I'm serving. That's my professional and ethical responsibility.
Okay.
There's also a certain level of standards, rules, regulations that are all in place for me to match what I'm finding in the field up against to make determinations on long-term solutions. So, like Mr. Russell said, yes, in an immediate risk, if someone's dumping gasoline in baby formula, yeah, we're gonna shut. You're gonna be shut down immediately. But like I said, also there's also rules and regulations about operations, and you're matching it up with rules, permits, different levels of authority.
Okay.
These are all things that would be taken into consideration in the course of the study. But ultimately, my responsibility is to do my best to protect the health and safety of the residents that I'm serving.
Okay. Just to conclude, I just want to say, I'm happy to hear the word dump being thrown around here tonight, because when I moved here in 1974, I won't go into great detail, that's what we called it, the dump. Then it morphed into the Halifax landfill. Well, that was much more civilized. Now, in 2025, and it took me till this year to know that there's such a thing as Maryland's Landing, and I thought, oh my, sounds like a resort. How clever. How
Maybe it was a good thing you didn't know, Rosie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Chris, if you have more stuff you'd like to send to us, we're happy to take it via email, but we've let everyone speak. We're going on 2 hours here.
It's just a couple other things. This is one of the biggest projects ever in the town, and it's important to everyone's health.
It's up to you, chair member.
Just a couple things.
2 minutes, and then if anything needs to come, send us additional questions here. We'll publish out whatever information we get back from them. We'll try and, keep all the information out there, but...
So, right under the federal rules on the EPA's website, for dust, fugitive dust, and particulate matter. The size of the particles directly linked to the potential for causing health problems. Small particles, 10 microns, especially 2.5 in diameter, pose the greatest problems, because they can get deep into your lungs and some may even get into your bloodstream. Exposure to such particles can affect both your lungs and heart. Numerous scientific studies have linked particle pollution exposure to a variety of problems, including premature death in people with heart and lung disease, non-fatal heart attacks, irregular heartbeat, aggravated asthma, decreased lung function, increased respiratory symptoms such as irritation of airways, coughing, difficulty breathing, people with heart and lung disease, children, older adults, minority populations with low socioeconomic status, populations are the most likely to be affected by the particle pollution.
Okay, thank you.
They just say it's an irritant. The EPA says guidelines of limits that people can be exposed to. The one other thing is the last meeting, Maryland said this doesn't sit over an aquifer. If you look at their own documents, the aquifer ends right about under the power lines. Right, probably 10 feet off the property line of the dump. With the water flowing, that you can see on their own maps with the wells here, the groundwater flow goes into the aquifer. I'm told we're on 2 aquifers in Halifax. Basically on this side is our current wells. As the town grows and we ever need new water, the water department owns a huge piece of property for another well on the end of Stonyware, which is this aquifer with the water flowing that way, a possible future contamination. So something to think about as the town grows. Do we ever need more water? Are we going to contaminate it now and not have it later on? The other thing is trucks sampled, physically sampled randomly. How many of those are done?
You mean like the quantitative analysis that we
Like
do?
you would actually go out randomly,
Randomly target a representative truck.
but how many? Because the last
A truckload, a truckload.
how many though? Like
Every truck gets screened, visually looked at, screened with a meter, and inspected for debris and other obvious signs of debris or anything. I come out, if there's an issue that Maryland's points out to me, I conduct a targeted, I tell them, just put that pile aside and we're gonna test it. Otherwise, I do a random audit. I just tell them, I come over, I say, hey, just pick out a pile.
So your company's last quarterly report that just got submitted this past month to the DEP, it gave a summary of the targeted random checks. There was only 6 trucks listed. Out of a couple of those trucks, you found way over the limit PCBs, came in from Paul Revere's industrial site, west of Boston. It got dumped there, because sometimes they don't catch it. It gets dumped way over the limits. PCBs, chemicals. I think one time early in the summer, it was like 70 truckloads from Logan Airport, way over the limit. Maybe, going by memory. But it does get dumped there, correct? And it has to get segregated, so it sits there for a while with dust, particles, to eventually get hauled out of there, like this, from the Paul Revere industrial site. Because, and then if you go to that town's website, they'll say how highly this land was contaminated for hundreds of years, and they gotta remediate and bring the soil and truck it out of there so they can build condos. Where's it going? It's going to Halifax. So when they dump it, everyone knows from 18-wheeler, it's covered on the back of the trucks, on the tires. So they've already detected it, segregated it, it's way over PCBs. Truck leaves, it's hauling out the dust on the tires. Look at 106, you can sit in the industrial park and look from thousands of trucks, the dust, and as cars go by, they do try to sweep it and water it, and like in the summer, it dries up in 20 minutes. And you can see the dust coming off the cars, all 106, that section. Brand new playground, all the kids playing 50 feet off the road, reading that.
Yeah, my kid.
So,
Please send that information to the board you're referring to.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And when I'm just saying, if they randomly 6 trucks out of 3 months, but there were 4,000 trucks, what might get through that they don't
That's
know about?
what agreed to and required by DEP. Plus my own.
We are the one site that watches everything.
I just ask that you please do your research, because I think we've identified many inconsistencies tonight. Oh, and
It's
one
my,
last
it's
thing.
my family, my grandchildren down there. I don't know if people want to trespass before they get some justice.
Just one last, whenever a load does fail the QA/QC analysis, like he's talking about, we're required to get off-site within 14 days of receiving notification that it. Yeah, we typically try to get it out of there the next day,
It's
but
code
I'm just saying,
protected.
we have to get it out of there
Yeah.
within 14
But
days.
we all know when it dumps and slides out of the truck in a windy day, there's all dust flying out of that truck, and then afterwards they identify it's over the limits.
How many loads have you watched this dump?
Yeah.
You can sit from Pine Street all day long.
Okay.
Fine.
Fun fact, these are from more residents that couldn't attend tonight.
Okay,
If you want to put it
Thank
in the
you.
record.
sure,
Stephen Gelfi and the Smiths.
yep,
Thank you.
Chairman, can I just make a concluding
sure.
comment?
Last comment.
A lot of these concerns and questions that were raised tonight were raised at the last meeting, and we addressed them at the meeting. I'm hoping that we did a good job about addressing them tonight, but we did submit a written questions and responses.
I'll look to see
It's
if
a-
we can get that put on like the town page,
it's a
so that everybody has
6-page letter.
access to everything, and if there's anything further after tonight, let's get it all out there.
So it'll be posted
share
on
everything.
the
Yeah, we'll
website?
try, I'll talk to Caesar
People
about
can
what we
check
can
that
do.
out, see what
Yep.
our responses.
That'd be great.
Okay.
All right,
you.
sorry, action by fire. Long meeting, so I'll let you guys get on to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very, very much.
Thank you, guys.
Can I just say one other thing? Since this is probably the biggest project that's ever become in the history of town of Halifax.
I think we've heard enough from,
We're running the meeting.
We have listened to them.
Are you
Go
afraid?
ahead.
I think you've explained before, it's overwhelming, your volunteers. Why do we not create a 53G account and have a hired expert engineer
that's for the benefit of the Halifax, works for Halifax.
That's really something we can look into. I mean, this is the first I'm ever hearing of it. Again, you know, this is a big project. I agree with
Money,
you.
know, there's no budget,
They pay for it. It's kind of like the planning board, when you do
Yeah.
a site plan, accounts set aside.
Okay.
We hire like Pat Brennan, you know, like another Are person. we still on the agenda? Because we'd like to respond to it.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, respond.
Sure.
As I said, you know, we can do fear mongering here, or we can address the facts.
I think it's unfair to call it fear mongering. These are residents with legit concerns. I mean, these are their homes.
I think
So I
Halifax
think
should have-
fear mongering is the wrong term,
We've
sir.
concerns, we've addressed them, we're
That doesn't
inviting
mean that they
people
don't
to look at
still
our
have
written
them.
responses. And I think it's an issue that this gentleman is going on and on and on, when apparently we're done with this part of the meeting. So we're gonna stay until this topic is
We're done.
concluded.
We're done.
I'm done. I just want to
Topic's
make that last point. Are we done or not?
Yeah,
We are
we're done.
As always, everybody's welcome.
Thank you for your time tonight.
We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right back to the top. So we probably should have done
Anybody
this
need a
first
break
because
before
now
we finish the rest of this?
we probably should have voted in Bob before that trial by
I know,
fire.
right?
That was the first thing on the agenda was to vote the interim.
You could say forget it.
All right, so we need to vote to appoint him. That was supposed to be the first thing. Okay.
All right.
So if you're staying, please be quiet. If you're leaving, we have to continue our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now that we have some silence, go ahead.
Okay. Interim health agent Bob Euchre. We'd like to move forward. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Bob Euchre as the interim health agent until the time that we are able to hire a health agent.
I'm sorry, you didn't stop recording, did you? Okay. Yeah, I would like to make, did you make the motion?
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome. Is anyone else sweating? It's like a million degrees in here.
No, look at him wearing this.
Oh, okay.
So what we usually do, so ratify agent's approval, you know, we've got 263 Oak Street, Building 13, 18 Twin Lakes, 43 Buttonwood, 33 Franklin, 25 Lawrence. Any issues or concerns from your perspective?
Nope, I've had an opportunity to look at all these, and they're all good for approval, in my opinion.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I'd like to make a motion to ratify agent's approvals A through F as listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Requiring local upgrades and variances to 22 Monpont. What do we got here? So they,
I would advise to approve.
okay, so they're just looking for one variance there.
Yeah, it's a reduction to groundwater separation.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve 222 Monpont Street as listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Maryland's Landing, should we discuss some more?
All done.
Well, I mean, the only thing I would say is I would like to perhaps ask DEP directly some questions, because I find it hard to believe there's only one answer to this problem. So that's the only thing I would say about that is I can, through my email, try and find someone at DEP to talk to about if there are other options, because, you know, 9 times out of 10, there's more than one way to fix a problem, and I would love to be able to find something that closed it, but was not so big and made the residents quite not so nervous.
Right. And then also, I mean, I don't know, either Bob or, you know, Peggy might know who Bob Valerie had, you know, was in touch with
Yeah.
DEP in the past as well. So at least for contact, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do as best as I can to do a deep dive investigation into the history of this, you know, documents,
Yeah.
communications. Like I said earlier, I think I have a pretty solid grasp of the current situation. But in order for me to to really have some fully involved input and input that I feel good about offering to you all as a health agent. I'd like to take some time to really research the history of the whole thing.
And that'd
We
be
would
great. 'cause
appreciate that.
We touched on that last time. One of the
what I do,
questions
it's
was,
what I'm educated and trained to do.
one of the questions that came up last time was whoever said you could start filling there again, and I don't know if Bob Valerie had thought maybe a previous board had approved it, or that was like a whole point of contention is when did they start? I know it's not
But did they
dumping,
need
but it's-
approval? So that's
I
the
don't
thing
know.
I don't
It's-
understand,
yeah.
because
I don't either.
did they just
Because now
get
they're
it from
saying
DEP?
that, now they're saying this soil is something you could put in your backyard, so do they need approval to do that? I don't know, so.
Well, not that the level 1 is, the level 2 is commercial.
That's correct.
Right.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Okay, body art tattoo permit. Discuss accepting and approving body art tattoo establishment and individual permit. And then the potential of the fee for 150, let me see. For business establishment, 100 for an individual artist permit. What does that mean?
So I think the business itself pays $150, but each artist would then also have to pay $100.
Additionally?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this says it keeps the board consistent with other boards of health applications and fees. Because this
Okay.
is going in over by you, right?
Yeah, above, right above.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, they did a nice job putting it together, not that that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in and talked to us about the wash stations and all that.
Right,
Okay, so
right.
I mean, I feel like if it's in line with what other boards of health are doing, I feel like it's fine.
Yep.
Right. And that there must have been some research done on that
Yeah,
fee, right?
yeah. So,
Okay, so I make a motion to accept and approve body art tattoo establishment and individual permit fees at $150 for the establishment and $100 for the individual permits.
so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Why is it on there twice?
I don't know. I think
Is
she
there a
might have-
difference between 2 and 3?
Maybe it switched down to the second page and she didn't realize she
Okay.
had it on the first page. I think it's just a dupe. I'll just skip.
Okay.
Public Health Excellence Group, interim advisory board member. The PHED would like one of the board members to be the interim advisory board member until the time that a new health agent is hired. Makes sense. I don't have to vote or anything on that, right?
No.
Okay. That makes sense.
Noted.
Yeah, just to let you know, we do have an advisory board meeting tomorrow at 2:30 PM. It's
Okay.
an open meeting. It's posted, there's a Zoom link for it. If anyone wants to reach out to me to have a conversation about HPHEG, and feel free, and because that's a whole other.
Yeah, no, a whole other creature, right?
That's the one you and Bob are on?
Yeah, that's how we initially came to be here now.
Very good. Okay. So then I think we just need to affirm bills paid. I'd like to make a motion to affirm bills for expense account 01-512-FY26-03, Harding Print and Digital Copy Center, and to WB Mason invoices 1 through 4.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to affirm bills paid for revolving account 25-513-FY26-05. Robert Casper for invoices 1 through 5, and Webby Engineering 1 invoice.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to affirm bill paid for nursing services account 01-522-FY26-03, 1 as listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
iPad gift account, firm, bills paid, account 26-514-4830-02-FY26-04, items 1 and 2 is listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Affirm bills paid for public health excellence grant account 25-516-543-189-FY26-05. Cindy Metro is listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
confirm bills paid for Public Health Excellence Grant Account 25-516-5430-189-FY26-07 for 6 as listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
The following must be approved, signed, or voted on. So, meeting minutes, those are probably in here to be signed, right?
Yeah. I think we just vote them, approve them,
Okay,
just to
all
be
right,
sure.
approve the meeting minutes from September 17th, 2025.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve fee account 01-512-4450-4459-FY26-14, as listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve expense account 01-512-FY26-04, 1 and 2 is listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve nursing services account 01-522-FY26-04, 1 is listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve iPad gift account 26-514-4830-02-FY26-05, 1 AT&T Mobile 1 and 2 is listed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve Public Health Excellence Grant Account 25-516-5430-189-FY26-07 for Kayla Smith as listed 1 through 5, 2 Michael Suarez, 3 Cindy Metro is listed on 1 and 2, Robert Bucher as listed 1 and 2.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. So fun reading all those numbers on the bills, isn't it? It's like speed reading.
And approve permits with the condition that all required documents and fees are submitted to the Board of Health. Will discharge permits will not be released until water testing well discharge permits will not be released until water testing samples from certified well testing companies are submitted to the Board of Health and approved by the agent.
So moved.
Nope,
Oh, sorry.
hold on.
Sorry.
We can vote for permits 1 through 18.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a motion to close the Halifax
Right here, I got
Board of
you.
Health meeting for November 19th at 8:42 p.m.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.